I'm your host, Stephen Vanover, here on the Sports Talk Line Network, where we talk sports 24/7, 365. Mr. Nate No Remorse Dowdy, you are the wide receiver of the group. And with your experience, man, when you got a wide receiver like Tyreek Hill, and hey, I understand you never had any speed like that, but you've seen him on the field. What can the Bucs do against this guy? Because really, honestly, can you cover a guy like that for 60 minutes?
Well, they didn't earlier in the regular season. He went off for something like 13 catches, over 250 yards in their week, 12, let's call it, meeting. But they're going to have to double team him. There's no way around it. And an advantage they're going to have this game is Mitchell Schwartz, right tackle, is out this game. And they're going to also have Eric Fisher out, their starting left tackle, out this game. And what really got them to the Super Bowl was the pressure they were able to generate on Aaron Rodgers with Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul. After him the entire game, I think both guys ended up with at least 2 or 3 sacks. That's going to be prime in this game. It's going to make they're going to make Patrick Mahomes throw shorter in the field, and they can't have their first read open like they would against their previously in the regular season against Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce.
Oh yeah, if Hill is a first read and he's open, it's over. I mean, that's just it. It's done. I mean, all right, Tom, New York Giants, which you are so familiar with, has had a fleet of speedy receivers that get open, and you've also had QBs that have the ability to throw deep. Again, that's a game killer in the Super Bowl, right?
It absolutely is. I mean, and there's 2 ways to do it. That one would be pressure. I think the second way is going back to the Bill Parcells era, is controlling the ball and keeping Tyreek Hill off the field. And that's something you got to wonder if Tampa Bay recognizes this and realizes, okay, we got to do ball control. We got to do ground and pound a lot more than we usually would, instead of trying to rely on turnovers that they got in both the NFC Championship game and against the New Orleans Saints in the playoffs.
Well, what do you think about that, Josh? Basically, are they going to line up and let Fournette go to town and say this is going to be, what's going to get us to the happy land? Or are they going to answer the question, what would the Dallas Cowboys look like in the Super Bowl as Brady gives up like 9 sacks?
Well, thankfully, we're never going to see the Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl again. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But hey, who am I to throw shade? But I mean, I don't think that this game's going to be solidified by the running game. But if you look at the last game that they had, both QBs were up over 345 yards. Brady had 345 yards. Mahomes had 462. Like, it was a big passing game. They basically, the defenses, they wanted to make sure that Leonard Fournette, Le'Veon Bell, they weren't hurting them. Ronald Jones wasn't doing anything. I think we're going to see a lot of that this game, and it's going to really come down to the quarterbacks, which is fantastic for us fans and people covering things, because we're going to see basically the GOAT versus the kid in an all-out slinging match for Super Bowl 55.
Well, Tom McAllister, he segued beautifully into what you brought up in the green room. And you were saying this boils down, no matter how it turns out, there's going to be a winner and a loser. And one of them is going to be named Brady and one of them is going to be named Mahomes. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, basically what I think is, a lot of people are declaring Tom Brady as the greatest of all time, the GOAT right now, because he could potentially win a Super Bowl title without Bill Belichick, the mastermind of multiple world championships up in New England. Now, I really think, though, if Patrick Mahomes wins this Super Bowl, he is on track to surpass Tom Brady as the greatest of all time. The reason for this, too, is it took Tom Brady a while to finally go out there and get that MVP trophy. Mahomes already got the MVP trophy. He could potentially have his second world championship trophy. And remember, Tom Brady, those 3 Super Bowl wins in New England, he was a game manager. He just wasn't, he came in, don't turn the ball over, pick up enough yards so that Adam Vinatieri can hit a game-winning field goal, which was the theme for his first 3 Super Bowl wins. While Mahomes, if he wins the Super Bowl again, it's on the strength of his arm. And Mahomes is still younger. He has a big-time contract. And who knows, if Kansas City wins, they got a legitimate shot at a three-peat, which no team in the NFL has done, and I think that would greatly improve Patrick Mahomes' case for being the greatest of all time.
Well, what do you think about that, Nate? I mean, is that legit just because of the way that they play the game? Or does it boil down to where, like, hey, Brady's a lot like Aikman. He's going to make the people around him better, pass the ball around. Whereas Mahomes, he's Dan Marino. He's like, put the ball in my hands. I'm the man. I'm going deep. We're passing, and we're winning. So, I mean, is it a matter of just them doing it different ways, or is it because Mahomes puts it on his shoulders and his arm versus his mind, does that make him better?
Yeah, I don't know, a lot has to go right for Patrick Mahomes in his career, continue to go right, I should say, for him to even be in the same conversation as Tom Brady. As far if you're going to base it depends on what you're going to base the greatest of all time is. Because if you're going to go base that argument off of rings and accomplishments, it's got to be Tom Brady and no one else in the discussion. But
LeBron James.
What's that?
LeBron James.
Wrong sport.
Oh, damn. Okay, never mind. Sorry, my bad.
But, I mean, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is just completing his 4th year now. So, I mean, I think he's going to have to continue to have to be great.
All right, Josh, I mean, you've sat there, you cover the Rams up close, so you know what a great quarterback doesn't look like, Jared Goff, and then you know what a great quarterback might look like because you got one coming in Stafford. So, what's your take on that?
Well, I'll touch on that. You mentioned the MVP, and already, if you look at, I'm just gonna, you can spike it all you want. You just did. I'm used to that all year. Lamar Jackson, I mean, if you look at MVP, what has he done in the playoffs, right? As much as, I disagree with Tom's take on if Patrick Mahomes wins this year, he's, up in his place at the GOAT. I think he's got a long way to go. I mean, it's longevity. I mean, there's so many things that could happen. He's got the contract set, but there could be injuries. There could be turnover on roster for Kansas City. Yes, they're looking like a team that could go Super Bowl after Super Bowl and up against the Bills for many fun AFC championship games with him and Josh Allen. But again, there's so many things that we don't know and we have to look forward to. But I mean, right now, yes, he's the best quarterback in the NFL, but he's not the GOAT. Tom Brady's the GOAT. And I mean, regardless of what happens in this Super Bowl, I think Tom Brady still will be the GOAT.
For the foreseeable future, I got to agree with you. But I see the points Tom making because Brady himself, the last time they played, he went out, he searched Mahomes out. He definitely has an affinity for this guy. And he also has some axes to grind with QBs of his era. He doesn't want to pass the torch to somebody like Mahomes, is my thought. All right, Tom, I'm going to stick with you here because I think you're uniquely situated to field this next question. And it has to do with the Giants defense, which beat Brady how many times? 100%. That's the answer. 100%. Okay. And that defense, is it looking Brady in the face again right now? And what's he going to do differently?
Well, I think you do have Giant connections in the Super Bowl. Jason Pierre-Paul is on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year, so Tom Brady doesn't have to see him in his nightmares. He sees him in his locker room. I really think, though, Steve Spagnuolo, defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, he was the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants in that Super Bowl 42 win. So I think they have it where you need to have Brady move around in the pocket. The one thing I have seen lately, though, Brady is more prone to turn the ball over. So this is going to be something where, if you're Kansas City, you need to get enough stops. You don't need to stop them on every possession. You have to have faith in your offensive weapons. You got Mahomes, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Kelsey. You just need to get enough stops. If you even can hold Brady in the red zone to field goals, I think Kansas City defense would be doing their job.
Yeah, touchdowns versus field goals. Nate, I'm going to go to you on this because you brought it up very early and we talked about it in the green room as well. Both offensive tackles for Tampa Bay are out. And I'm sorry, people aren't talking about that because what is the book on Brady? How do you stop Brady? There's only one way. you get in his grill. And wow, the team he's facing right now, they can do that, can't they?
Yeah, and Steve Sagnoli, they like to send a lot of pressure, and he's the ultimate power puncher, and that's going to be the great equalizer. And it's going to be, in my opinion, is that he only needs one or two big plays from his defense every drive. That's going to turn that into a field goal, maybe instead of a touchdown. Maybe turn a ball over or so. They send a lot of pressure, and I expect that to be kind of the MO of this game. Do enough, bend but don't break.
Oh, yeah, that's easy to say. And then, of course, when it's happening on the field, sometimes snap. Okay, Josh, something else we talked about in the green room. Brady, he was upset this week.
Yes, he was.
He was fired up, upset, wasn't he?
He was fired up after the AFC or the NFC. Sorry, I'm so used to saying the AFC Championship with Brady, but the NFC Championship game after the Bucks victory over the Green Bay Packers.
And basically he was upset with a teammate for showing weakness. What he perceived as weakness, right?
What he perceived as weakness, obviously showing emotion and crying is never weakness.
No, that wasn't it.
No, that wasn't it. But just the fact that he was so happy and thrilled with that was how far they had come. To win an NFC Championship as the Bucs, who haven't made it back since the John Gruden days, for them that was something big. And Tom Brady just basically just told him to man up and pick it up. He's like, the job's not done. Like we got things to go, and that just kind of shows you the drive that Tom Brady brings and what he's brought to the Tampa Bay Bucks this year. And despite him being 43, guys, I really don't see Tom Brady going away for the next couple of years.
You make a good point, and that his point that he brought out right there is like, that is not our goal. What are you even being happy for? This is not our goal. One more game, right, Nate?
Yeah, I actually heard differently. He was upset with another teammate for not making out with his son aggressively enough.
I'm not going to say that's not true because it could be true, especially coming from you, because I know your journalistic integrity is beyond question.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen the wet ones he places on his kids? Good Lord. I mean, we talk about restraining orders and stuff.
Hey, that was a nice
Child Protective Services.
Okay, you heard it here first. Nate doesn't like sloppy ones. Okay, let's slide that on around the room. No. All right, now we're going to just open it up.
Breaking sports talk line news: Nate's never been hugged by his dad.
Twice. Never been hugged twice. Which, never mind, just don't go there. Okay. All right, as we work it around the round table, one time each to bring up something of note or not. And of course, we got to go the guy with the biggest shit-eating grin. No, I'm not looking at you this time, Nate. I'm talking about Tom, of course. All right.
I would say this. I just love it. And one of the things I hit on, they had I saw a clip where we mentioned Super Bowl 42. Sorry, I'm living in my glory. The Giants faithful are still living off that win 14 years ago. And they had an interview with the Giants offensive line. And they said that during the game, the New England Patriots invited the Giants players to their post-game party. I'm pretty sure that post-game party wasn't as much fun as the Giants post-game party. So I just got to wonder if the potential arrogance, because a lot of people perceive that Tom Brady came off as very arrogant leading up to that. They thought the Giants didn't have no chance. Could Tom Brady's arrogance be exploited by the Kansas City Chiefs? And I think that's something.
If it took you this long to figure out Tom Brady was arrogant, I think you're in the wrong game. Okay? Yeah, he's arrogant. But, as everybody that has played him after, I don't know, ring number 3 has said, is it arrogance when you back it up?
You got a point. And, that's sticking in Tom's craw. You could totally tell just hearing the words Tom Brady and GOAT. And you're going to have to hear it over and over again after his Hall of Fame ceremony, too.
You want to know what it is, though? It's just imagine how much Tom Brady would be, I guess, perceived if he won those 2 Super Bowls. And I also did see another interesting fact. pretty much 8 out of Tom Brady's 9 Super Bowls have all been one possession games.
Okay,
So
I won the
easily-
over-under, by the way. I thought that Tom would mention the Super Bowl victories over Brady more than 7 times. That last one did it. It's now over
Yep.
7. That was 8. So, I mean, I win that pool, okay?
We're keeping on the anniversary.
I'm surprised you didn't come out with a helmet with a football stuck on it, okay?
If only he had won the other 2. What? He's got 6, Tom.
He's got 6 and he's played another 3.
But he'll never, ever have those 2. Really, Tom? Golf clap, golf clap, golf clap. Okay. All right. It is done. It is done. Working around the room. All right. Nate, you've got to have a take. Why do I know this? Right.
Oh, pshaw. Well, I think there's just too much of a margin. The margin for error is just too great for Tampa Bay, and I've got to say, Kansas City wins by at least 10.
There you go. Don't dwell on it. Just spit it out and let's move on. Okay. Joshua, Mr. Griffiths, sir, what north of the border innuendos, ingenuity, or insight can you offer?
No, I got nothing, eh? No, I want to talk about Rob Gronkowski, who hasn't really been mentioned today in what we've been talking about. But last game, 6 receptions, 106 yards in the 27-24 loss to the Chiefs in week 11 there. And I think that he's going to be a big factor. You know, Tom mentioned that Tampa's going to, or sorry, that the Kansas City's going to have to blitz. They're going to have to. And if not, you know, he's going to be open. They have so many weapons with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and Antonio Brown. When he's on his game, I think that he could come to play, and he's a big game performer. He's done it before with Tom Brady. I mean, it's.
Do we know if Brown's going to play? I don't think that's.
I think it's listed as doubtful.
His whole life, okay?
Yeah, right.
Well, apparently, half the Chiefs team is listed as dealt foot after that haircut.
Oh, goodness, yes. And just for anybody wondering what we're talking about, there was another haircut COVID exposure incidents for the Chiefs. This is not their first one this year. Okay. All right. My quick take on this is Fournette's going to go wild, okay? And I think you nailed it there. That was on my list. I was going like, oh, you bastard, you took that from me. Because I think Mr. Tight End, everybody, you know, he's kind of been hiding this year. But he got warmed up the last game. Him and Brady said, okay, we'll decide when to pull this out. They'd pulled it out last week. They're going to pull it out again this week. It's going to be awesome, but it's not going to overcome the 8 sacks that Brady's going to absorb. Bye-bye. Tampa Bay ain't winning it this year.
Okay.
There you go. Mr. Mahomes, keep it going. Tom is giving you direction. As we work it around the room, we're going to sign off here. Mr. Tom McAllister, you can find him on Twitter at defends_com. That's DFENDS_com. Can't miss it. Follow him, not only for the Giants, but more importantly for Talk Big East real quick for me, my friend.
Yes, we do a weekly episode with Battle for the Big East. We cover men's and women's basketball. Feel free to stop by, to like and subscribe, watch all the episodes. We got plenty more coming this season.
Yeah, just landed Steve Lavin recently. That was a hell of an interview. And then also we have Mr. Joshua Griffith 0 on Twitter. Mr. Joshua Griffith 0. The reason he has the 0 is because after him, it don't matter. That's it. That's it right there. And you have the Unnamed Sports Show, and you bring it all the time with some great guests.
Yes, sir, I am. And actually, the 0 is because Joshua Griffith was actually just taken. I wish it was a better story than that.
Dude, everybody was buying my story. Everybody was buying it. Nate, were you buying my story? Was it working?
Yeah.
You should have just left it alone. Should have just left it alone.
We can edit that part out. But yes, the Unnamed Sports Show. Make sure to tune me. We have a great Super Bowl feature this week as big Kansas City Chiefs fan Katie Camlin, the woman who actually scooped Adam Schefter for the Patrick Mahomes signing.
That's right. That's right. Oh man, that's awesome.
Chat some Super Bowl and some beer as she works in a liquor store. That's where she was able to get the scoop, and it was actually just a really fun conversation. So I have lots of great guests in all sports. So we do some basketball, some football, some hockey up here in Canada, for us Canadians, and yeah, just make sure to tune into that.
All right. At least you still call it hockey and not some other name like soccer or something like that. I don't know. Whatever. All right. And Nate, it's just you and me, man. All we do is we hang around. We hold down the fort. Sign us off, my man.
Well, you're going to have to do one thing and one thing only, as Miss Meister Vanover has once said. You're going to listen like you play with intensity.
Super Bowl 55. See you there. Comment below. See you after.